Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about the latest rumors surrounding Justin Fields and potentially returning to his hometown team, your Atlanta Falcons, and then the latest on Arthur Smith and whether or not he is trending in the right direction to return for 2024. But let's get started with JF1 because there has always been a lot of rumors surrounding Fields and potentially moving on from the Chicago Bears, especially with the Bears inching closer and closer to locking up the number one pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. Now, this is not brand new information today on Friday, December 29th, that Fields and the Falcons have been connected in trade rumors, but I have noticed an uptick in the trade rumor mill surrounding Fields and the Falcons, right? We see an article from The Athletic come out. I've seen it all over the place, and so I figured we'd talk about it again on the show. Now, the Bears can clinch the first overall pick in the draft, which they have from the Carolina Panthers, if the Panthers lose in either Week 17 or Week 18. If Carolina just loses one more game, the number one pick is gift wrapped and delivered to Chicago. Now, Justin Fields will have a fifth-year option decision coming up this offseason, and it's been reported that it will cost, whether it's the Bears or someone else, about $21.9 million to pick up. So that would definitely be a decision that factors into whether or not Atlanta wants to trade for Justin Fields. But Fields this season, I mean, the numbers might not jump out to you as, that's our guy. Like, that's a guy I want to trade for. But I really do believe Justin Fields is the ultimate eye test. If you watch him, and you're all going to watch him on Sunday against the Falcons, I think you're going to see what a special quarterback he is and how his talent is being wasted in Chicago with an abysmal coaching staff. His offensive coordinator is an idiot. His head coach is a doofus. He's got one wide receiver to throw to, and his offensive line has been a work in progress since he stepped foot in the Windy City. I feel bad for Fields on a lot of fronts. He's definitely got blood on his hands for some of the shortcomings the Bears have endured the last 3 seasons. I mean, you can look at Justin Fields' career, and you're going to notice improvements in a lot of ways from his rookie season to now year 3. But I'm guessing everyone in Lake Forest expected a bigger jump from Fields this season, right? I think if I told Bears fans and the Chicago Bears coaching staff at the end of the year, here are Justin Fields' 2023 numbers, there would probably be a bit of, ooh, yikes. Kind of hoping for a bigger jump that season. I've said it since October. I think Justin Fields will be an Atlanta Falcon. I just believe that the Bears are not going to pass up the opportunity to draft Caleb Williams first overall, and they're going to sell Justin Fields to the highest bidder, which may very well be a team like Atlanta who wants to bring the hometown kid back from Kennesaw, Georgia, obviously started his collegiate career off in Athens for the Bulldogs, and I think it's a perfect fit for both sides. So this is the trade idea I have tossed out there, and I still believe it's a pretty fair trade. Justin Fields for 2 second-rounders. The Bears are likely going to try and ask and get a first-rounder, and they might be able to get a first-rounder, but the big question will be, where in the first round? Right? Let's say the Raiders want Justin Fields. The Raiders are not going to give up a potential top 10 draft pick if they drop their next 2 games to get Justin Fields. But if the Atlanta Falcons win their next 2 games and miss out on the playoffs with 9 wins because of some tiebreakers, and they don't pick until 16, 17, or 18, maybe the Falcons go, we can give up the 18th overall pick for our franchise quarterback. That seems like a pretty good exchange. So let me know, would you do this trade? I am accepting it if I'm Atlanta. I think Fields is the guy. I think Fields is a very special quarterback. And I ultimately just believe the Bears are not going to pass up on the first overall pick with Caleb Williams in this draft class. So let me know down below in the comment section. Now let's talk more about a path for Fields ending up in Atlanta. Let's say Atlanta does win the next game or 2. Get to 8 wins, maybe 9 wins, and they don't pick until picks 15 through 20. Somewhere in that neighborhood, right? Well, Caleb Williams and Drake May are going to be gone by the 4th overall pick. Jaden Daniels will likely not escape the top 10. And what if we get a run of 3 QBs in the top 10 and you see Michael Penix or maybe even Bo Nix sneak into, I doubt all 5 guys are gone by Atlanta's time on the clock, but what if the Falcons only like 3 to 4 of these players? And sure, Bo Nix or maybe Michael Penix could be available for them, But if ultimately the Falcons brass does not like one of those two guys because the top three are surely going to be gone, then they might be thinking it's better to use our first overall pick on a quarterback we do like Justin Fields, versus an absolute unknown like a rookie quarterback. Next up on the show, we're going to run through the latest on Arthur Smith and the rumors surrounding his job security in Atlanta. But really quickly, Prize Picks is our terrific sponsor for today's video. And let me tell you guys how Prize Picks works. It's daily fantasy made easy. All you do on Prize Picks is select 2 to 6 players and then choose more or less on their projected stats. Now, we've got some elite college football bowl games coming up, including the CFP semifinals. So I wanted to share with you guys my selections for them. I've got the less on Michael Penix's passing yards against a pretty solid Texas defense. I also got the more on Jalen Milroe's passing yards, just 205 against, sure, a stout Michigan defense, but that's a low number for me. And then Mitchell, the wide receiver for Texas, I got more on half a receiving touchdown. So if you like my selections, feel free to ride with me over at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. I've put that link, because I love you guys, in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Let's talk about Arthur Smith. So his job security at this point, it appears up in the air. The next 2 games may very well dictate whether or not Arthur Smith continues to live in Alpharetta, Sandy Springs, or wherever he lives. But he is 1 win away from giving the Falcons their first 8+ win season since 2017 when they made the playoffs. Now, through nearly 3 seasons in Atlanta, he has compiled a 21-28 record. So that appears to be a nice baseline for what we know about Arthur Smith going into the final 2 games. But Albert Breer from Sports Illustrated wanted to color the picture in a little bit. And here's what he had in a recent write-up of his. The Falcons are the enigma. They've hit on draft picks, they've hit on free agents, they've built strength along the lines of scrimmage, and sure look like a rising young team in a lot of ways. But the plan to tread water at quarterback has not gone the way Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot drew it up, which led to Taylor Heinicke's reinsertion into the lineup Sunday. And yet, in a weird way, Heinicke being back in there showed where the ceiling for this team is, how the group is still ascending, and why Arthur Blank is trending toward giving Smith and Fontenot another year. I think ultimately, whether or not the Falcons win the next 2 games, split them, or lose the next 2 games, Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot have to go into Arthur Blank's, I'm sure, very nice office and sell him on their quarterback plan. Because Albert Breer is very spot on with a lot of what he said. They have made some great draft selections. Drake London and Bijan look to be great draft picks, right? In free agency, Jesse Bates, big contract. Talk about an absolute home run in year 1. David Onyemata, a bit of an older defensive lineman, nailed it. Bringing back Caleb McGarry for what they paid him, pretty good deal right there. So they've done a lot of really good things, but ultimately, you tend to go as far as your quarterback goes. And so if Smith and Fontenot come in with, this is our plan for the quarterback position, and Arthur Blank buys it, I don't think the next 2 games really matter if that's the case. But again, if they don't have a good plan and they lose the next 2 games, well, one of these 2 guys might be gone. So let me know, should Arthur Smith return in 2024? Chime in for me down below in the comment section. I want to know what you have to say, yes or no. So that's going to do it for us. But first, I'm coming back to T-Mart. I do want to end the video with 1 or 2 more things about Arthur Smith, because I know I've been pretty up and down with Art, and ultimately I am more of an Arthur Smith stan than hater, but I really hated how he went snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap, right? Ritter, Heinicke, like this was some college football FCS team. But I can recognize that Arthur Smith has severely been limited by the turnovers from the quarterback position, in which he has no control. He does not fumble the ball. He does not throw picks, right? There are things you can blame Arthur Smith for, like doing a jet sweep with Jonnu Smith at the goal line when you use a top 10 pick on Bijan Robinson. But that's not costing them games. What's costing them games are the turnovers. And if Arthur Smith can get a better quarterback to not turn the ball over, he would have a much more successful team. Now, I also want to reshare this information we had a few days ago, I guess last week, on a Falcons episode with you guys here. And that is head coaches who got a fourth season despite missing the playoffs, years 1, 2, and 3. John Gruden most recently with the Raiders. We all know how that ended. Todd Bowles with the Jets. When he came back for year 4, 4 wins. When Gus Bradley came back for year 4, fired midseason with 2 wins. When the Rams brought back Jeff Fisher, he won 7 games. Joe Philbin came back for the Dolphins, fired midseason. Jason Garrett won 12 games. He seems to be the black sheep here. Dick Duran for the Buffalo Bills, fired midseason. Or how about Romeo Crennel for the Cleveland Browns? Romeo won 4 games the next season. Mike Nolan for the 49ers. Mike Nolan, fired midseason. And then Gary Kubiak and Dom Capers. Capers won 2 games, and Kubiak won 9 games. So if you look at this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coaches that were fired mid-season of their 4th year. That's not good company for Arthur Smith to be in. That's not a good group to be a part of right there. And it's not a very promising group to be a part of because outside of Jason Garrett, and even that's a stretch, none of these coaches really did anything after years 4 or 5 with their team. So make sure to subscribe if you have not already. Lock yourself in for the best Atlanta Falcons YouTube content here on Falcons Today.